Have you ever wondered if there are subtle signals that might reveal a woman's sexual history? Well, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into a topic that can be controversial, but is undeniably intriguing. 4 signs a woman has slept with many men. 1. The first sign that could indicate a woman has had multiple sexual partners is her behavior and attitude. Now, I want to stress that being social, outgoing, or extroverted doesn't automatically mean anything. But sometimes certain behavior can offer clues. Imagine this. You're at a social event, and you notice a woman who is constantly seeking attention from men. She might be flirtatious, making suggestive remarks, or always in the spotlight. She thrives on the validation she receives from men and enjoys being the center of attention. For example, you might see her as the life of the party, always surrounded by men, engaging in playful or even provocative conversations. While being outgoing or confident is great, when someone consistently craves male attention, it might suggest deeper patterns in their behavior. Actions often speak louder than words. In this case, consistent flirting or an ongoing need for male attention might hint at a history of multiple relationships. But remember, it's important not to make snap judgments based solely on what you see. Everyone has their own reasons for acting a certain way. The second sign is the absence of emotional attachment. This one is a bit more subtle but significant. It's not just about how someone acts, but what they prioritize emotionally. Imagine you're dating someone, and it becomes clear that physical satisfaction is more important to them than building an emotional connection. They might avoid deep conversations, be hesitant to discuss the future, or dismiss the idea of exclusivity. They may show a reluctance to invest in a committed relationship. For example, if she often avoids talking about where the relationship is headed, or even jokes about not wanting to settle down, it could be a sign that she's more focused on casual encounters rather than emotional intimacy. While it's perfectly fine for people to have different views on relationships, when someone consistently avoids emotional bonds, it may indicate a pattern. Emotional connection is a crucial part of any healthy relationship, so if it's missing, it might suggest a deeper tendency to avoid commitment. Keep in mind, though, that everyone's emotional history is unique, and there could be various reasons for this behavior. The third sign to look out for is a woman's social circle. As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. Often, the company someone keeps can reveal a lot about their lifestyle and habits. If a woman's social group primarily consists of men, or she frequently spends time in environments like pubs, bars, or clubs, places often associated with casual hookups, it might be a signal. For instance, if she prefers to hang out in places known for their flirty vibes, or where the focus is more on fun and fleeting encounters, it may raise questions. Think about this. If her closest friends are mostly men, and they regularly go to places where casual dating or one-night stands are common, it could indicate a level of comfort with a more carefree, less committed approach to relationships. It's important to note that having male friends or going out doesn't mean anything negative on its own. Many people enjoy nightlife and socializing, but when this becomes a consistent part of someone's lifestyle, it might reflect broader habits or preferences. Lastly, let's talk about physical signs. This is a delicate point, and it's essential to approach this with understanding and empathy. Physical appearance alone should never be used to judge someone's sexual history, but certain physical clues, when combined with other behaviors, might offer insight. For example, some people associate certain tattoos, piercings, or specific grooming habits with promiscuity. Additionally, frequent encounters with sexually transmitted infections might be seen as a clue. However, it's critical not to jump to conclusions or make assumptions based on these factors alone. Imagine someone who has tattoos that some might stereotype as related to a more carefree sexual lifestyle, or perhaps they have visible signs of an SD that they openly talk about. While none of these alone confirm anything, they might add to the picture when viewed alongside their social behavior, emotional detachment, or social circle. What's most important here is not to pass judgment, but to approach these signs with curiosity and respect. Everyone has their own story, and physical appearance should never be the sole factor in determining someone's sexual past. Lesson 2. Physical signs. First, we need to be clear that physical signs are not definitive proof of someone's sexual history. The human body is complex, and what some people consider clues can be misleading. Tattoos, grooming habits, or even the presence of sexually transmitted infections, STIs, are often highlighted as potential indicators. But none of these should be used to judge someone outright. Imagine someone with visible tattoos or body art that some people associate with a more carefree or sexually liberated lifestyle, or perhaps someone who openly talks about having experienced an STI in the past. While these factors might give others the impression of a more diverse sexual history, it's critical to look at the bigger picture. Physical signs alone tell us very little without understanding the person behind them. Everyone makes choices for different reasons, and these choices don't always reflect their sexual experiences. Let's dig deeper into why certain physical attributes are often misunderstood. One of the most common physical signs people point to when discussing someone's sexual history is visible tattoos or body art. In many cultures, tattoos have long been seen as a sign of rebellion or living an unconventional life. Some even associate specific designs or placements of tattoos with sexual freedom or promiscuity. But the reality is that body art is personal. Many people get tattoos for reasons that have nothing to do with their sexual life. A tattoo might represent a personal story, a memory, or a symbol of something meaningful. It's essential to recognize that just because someone has tattoos, it doesn't automatically tell us anything about their intimate past. Let's think about it this way. If you see someone with tattoos, it's much more valuable to ask about the story behind their ink rather than make assumptions. Tattoos are often an expression of identity, and while some may think they signify certain behavior, they don't provide the full picture. Another physical sign that people often talk about when it comes to someone's sexual past is their grooming habits. This might include how they dress, the way they style their hair, or even how much effort they put into maintaining their appearance. Some might believe that a woman who is always meticulously groomed or dresses provocatively is signaling a more sexually active lifestyle. However, grooming choices are incredibly personal and can be influenced by a wide range of factors. Fashion, self-expression, personal, confidence, or simply wanting to look good are all reasons why someone might choose to present themselves in a particular way. For example, a woman who dresses in a way that some might consider revealing is not necessarily indicating anything about her sexual history. She could simply feel empowered or comfortable in that outfit. On the other hand, someone who dresses more conservatively could also have an extensive sexual history. Appearance alone doesn't tell the full story. It's important to avoid making assumptions based solely on how someone looks. Grooming and fashion are about much more than sexual behavior. They're about how someone feels about themselves and their identity. Now, let's talk about one of the most sensitive physical signs: sexually transmitted infections or STIs. It's often assumed that if someone has an STI, they must have had many sexual partners. While STIs are transmitted through sexual contact, they are not always an indicator of a person's full sexual history. The truth is, anyone who is sexually active can contract an STI, whether they've had one partner or many. In fact, many people who have contracted an STI may have been in committed relationships at the time. Having an STI says nothing about someone's character, values, or their number of sexual partners. It's simply a part of sexual health that should be treated with care and understanding. Unfortunately, there is still a lot of stigma around STIs, and many people fear being judged if they share their experience. But open, honest communication about sexual health is key to breaking down these barriers. We should encourage more discussions about safe sex, regular health checkups, and support rather than judgment. So what do these physical signs really tell us? Not much, unless we consider the broader context. Physical clues like tattoos, grooming habits, or even an STI may offer some information, but they are just small pieces of a much larger puzzle. When it comes to understanding someone's sexual history, or any part of their life, the most important thing is to communicate openly and without judgment. It's far too easy to make assumptions based on what we see, but those assumptions can lead to misunderstandings and hurt. Every person's story is unique, and physical signs alone can't tell us what we need to know. If you're curious about someone's past, the best approach is to ask with kindness. Listen with empathy and be open to whatever they choose to share. Lesson 3. Respect and open-mindedness. One of the biggest challenges we face in relationships is the temptation to judge others based on surface-level information. It's human nature to make quick assumptions. For example, someone might hear that a woman has had several partners and immediately jump to conclusions about her character or her values. But in reality, everyone's journey is different, and those assumptions often miss the complexity of the person behind the story. When we focus only on the number of partners someone has had, we reduce them to a single aspect of their life, ignoring all the other things that make them unique. People's choices, especially their personal ones, are shaped by experiences, emotions, and individual circumstances. Instead of rushing to judge, what if we paused and asked ourselves, what can I learn about this person beyond this one detail? Respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. But what does respect look like when it comes to understanding someone's sexual history? It means accepting their choices without labeling or shaming them. Imagine meeting someone who is open about their past relationships. They're confident and comfortable with their experiences, and they share their story with you, trusting that you won't judge them. In that moment, you have a choice to either react with prejudice or to respect their openness. Respecting someone's sexual history means understanding that their past doesn't define their worth. Each person has a different journey, and respecting that journey helps foster trust and openness in relationships. Whether someone has had one partner or many, it's their life, and their choices deserve to be treated with dignity. Now, let's talk about the power of open-mindedness. Being open-minded in relationships means being willing to hear someone's story without bringing your own biases into the conversation. It's about listening without judgment and allowing space for people to share who they are without fear of rejection or ridicule. Think of a time when you felt judged for a decision you made. It could have been about your career, your lifestyle, or even something personal. That feeling of being misunderstood can be deeply hurtful, right? The same applies to discussions around sexual history. When we approach these conversations with curiosity and an open heart, we create a safe space for genuine connection. Imagine being in a relationship where you and your partner can talk openly about your pasts without feeling judged or ashamed. This kind of openness can strengthen the bond between two people because it shows that you accept each other for who you truly are, flaws and all. In today's society, labels are everywhere. People are quick to categorize others, especially when it comes to sensitive topics like relationships and sex. But here's the truth. Labels limit us. They box people in and prevent us from seeing the full spectrum of who they are. When someone is labeled based on their sexual history, they might feel like they're being reduced to that one aspect of themselves. But no one's identity is that simple. A person is much more than their past relationships or experiences. They are a mix of dreams, fears, talents, and unique qualities. Moving beyond labels requires us to stop viewing people in black and white terms. We all have our own set of life experiences, and those experiences shape who we are, rather than sticking labels on people based on what we hear or see. We should focus on understanding the whole person. Only then can we build meaningful relationships that are free from prejudice. Respect and open-mindedness in relationships ultimately come down to one key thing: communication. When we communicate openly and with respect, we can move past assumptions and truly get to know someone. This is where the real magic happens, when two people feel safe to be vulnerable with each other, without fear of being judged. If you find yourself wondering about someone's past, it's always better to ask with empathy than to make assumptions. Ask questions not out of judgment, but out of a desire to understand. Listen to their answers, without trying to fit them into a preconceived idea. When communication is open and free of judgment, it creates an environment where both partners can grow and evolve together. Lesson 4. Social circle. We all know the saying, birds of a feather flock together. There's some truth to this. Our friends, the people we spend the most time with, often reflect certain aspects of our lifestyle. When it comes to understanding someone's behavior or choices, observing their social circle can sometimes offer clues. But it's important to note, social circles don't define us completely. Just because someone is surrounded by people who live a certain way, it doesn't necessarily mean they live that way too. However, when certain patterns are consistent, they might give us some insights into someone's lifestyle choices, including their approach to relationships and intimacy. So, what does it mean when a woman's social circle is predominantly made up of men, or when she frequents social settings that are known for casual encounters? Let's dive deeper. Imagine this: you're getting to know someone new, and you start to notice that most of her close friends are men. She regularly spends her time in social settings that are known for a more relaxed or flirtatious vibe, like nightclubs, pubs, or parties. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a woman having male friends or enjoying a night out. In fact, many people thrive in social environments and have strong, healthy friendships with the opposite sex. But if her social life consistently revolves around these kinds of environments, it might suggest a level of comfort with casual interactions. For example, if she seems at ease in settings that promote flirtation or hookup culture, this could reflect her past experiences or preferences in relationships. It's also worth considering the kind of social circles she gravitates toward. If her closest friends are often in relationships based on casual encounters, or if they openly discuss their sexual experiences, this could influence her own views or behaviors. or behaviors. Again, this isn't about judgment. It's simply about observation. The people we surround ourselves with can have a big impact on our outlook and lifestyle choices. We all know that peer influence plays a huge role in shaping who we are, especially when it comes to behavior and decisions in relationships. If a woman's peer group is primarily composed of individuals who prioritize short-term relationships or casual encounters, it's possible that she may feel more comfortable engaging in similar behaviors. For example, if her close friends are regularly involved in nightlife scenes or openly talk about their casual relationships, she might feel a sense of acceptance or even encouragement to adopt the same lifestyle. This doesn't mean she's defined by her social circle, but it could suggest an environment that values those experiences. Peer groups often create a culture where certain behaviors are normalized, and when we're surrounded by people who make certain choices, it can be easier to follow suit. But again, this is not a hard rule. Everyone's individual values and behaviors are unique. A person may have a social circle that influences them, but they still make their own decisions. While social circles can provide hints about someone's lifestyle, it's essential to remember that each person is still an individual. Just because someone has friends who engage in certain behaviors doesn't mean they automatically do the same. We all have different reasons for maintaining friendships and participating in social activities. For instance, a woman might enjoy going out with her friends to nightclubs, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's seeking casual relationships. She could simply enjoy the atmosphere, dancing, or being social. It's important to look beyond surface-level assumptions and recognize that people's choices are often far more complex than what meets the eye. When evaluating someone's social circle, it's crucial to balance what you observe with an understanding of their individuality. It's easy to make snap judgments, but true understanding comes from communication, not assumptions. Not assumptions. So, what's the takeaway here? While a woman's social circle might offer some insights into her behavior or choices, it's never the full story. We should never make judgments about someone's sexual history or any part of their life based solely on the company they keep. Instead, use these observations as starting points for deeper conversations. Get to know the person beyond their social surroundings. Ask questions, listen to their experiences, and understand their perspective. By doing this, you can develop a more meaningful connection based on mutual respect and understanding. At the end of the day, relationships are built on trust, communication, and acceptance. So let's always remember to approach these topics with empathy, an open mind, and without judgment.